God has an urgent message for you before this weekend ends. And what He needs to say cannot be postponed until next week or delayed for more convenient timing. There is a divine urgency pulsing through the spiritual atmosphere right now. A heavenly frequency that has orchestrated this precise moment where your attention meets this message. This is not about future possibilities or next month's opportunities. This is about the immediate present, about what heaven is activating right now in your life. You are not randomly led here through meaningless algorithms or accidental clicks. You are divinely guided to disappointment because heaven has something timetical to communicate. I need you to commit right now to staying until the final word is spoken, because the closing of this message will seal something already set in motion in the invisible realm. Type your wishes in the comments and seal them with 888 as your spiritual agreement with what heaven is releasing. Hit that like button as your declaration of readiness. Subscribe to this channel so we journey together and recognize that we are not just viewers. It moves with its own intelligence, its own rhythm, and it has a way of interrupting your ordinary routine precisely when you least expect it. Yet, most need the interruption. You might have been doing something entirely different when you felt that inexplicable pull, that inner tug that made you stop and pay attention. That wasn't coincidence working mysteriously or random chance guiding your attention. That was divine intervention, cutting through everyday noise to deliver time-sensitive information directly to your spirit. Something is shifting in your spiritual atmosphere right now. A movement you can sense even if words cannot capture it, like how pressure changes before weather transforms. What you are experiencing is heaven's spotlight turning deliberately in your direction. And if you could hear the conversations in celestial realms, you would know that your name is being discussed with specific intention. Purpose. Those doors that closed, those opportunities that dissolved, those connections that didn't survive, they all belong to a different timeline, a version of your story that wasn't aligned with what God has prepared. The promise before you guarantees that clarity will come before this weekend ends. Not as vague hope, but as solid knowing that anchors deep in your spirit. The transformation entering your life doesn't announce itself with loud declarations or spectacular exhibitions designed for public display. Authentic divine alignment frequently arrives through quiet shifts and subtle recalibrations occurring beneath the surface of visible circumstances. God isn't invested in creating theatrical productions for entertainment. He's committed to creating permanent transformation, and that requires different movement. One establishing itself in stillnesses before manifesting physically. You have been protected from dangers you never saw approaching, redirected from paths that appeared promising but would have led to wrong destinations. Every delay you've experienced, every postponement that made you question whether God was listening, was actually divine course correction, preventing you from settling for less. What appeared as punishment was actually protection operating beyond your perception. What felt like abandonment was actually precise positioning. The veil separating natural and spiritual realms is becoming increasingly transparent this season, and heaven is leaning closer to earth, specifically toward your situation with concentrated focus. Spiritual activity is accelerating around your life in ways that will soon become impossible to dismiss. You are not circling back into old patterns. You are entering a convergence point where everything fragmented is coming together with divine precision. Chosen one, understanding the purpose behind your past losses and the wisdom in your delays will bring perspective that transforms frustration into gratitude and confusion into clarity. Sometimes manifestation materializes as physical confirmation, the impossible job offer, the relationship you stopped praying for, the financial breakthrough defying logic, the door appearing after everything closed. But sometimes it arrives as something equally powerful, a deep, immovable peace, settling into your spirit like bedrock, creating absolute certainty that everything unfolds exactly as designed. Angels have been dispatched with assignments bearing your name. Their mission involving stirring clarity where confusion tried to establish residence, opening pathways where obstacles appeared permanent, arranging circumstances aligning with your divine purpose. God operates with a signature style distinguishing his work. He specializes in making impossibilities possible, precisely when situations appear most hopeless. When human logic has exhausted options and natural resources have dried up, that's when heaven steps in with solutions originating only from divine intervention. The shift beginning in your life won't require your announcement. It will be visible enough that others notice without you speaking a word. There is a loaded silence enveloping your life right now, and it's critical you don't misinterpret this quietness as emptiness or divine abandonment. This sacred stillness is actually intention gathering before manifestation. Like the moment before a seed breaks through soil or a butterfly emerges from its cocoon. Those spiritually awake among God's chosen ones recognize this silence for what it is: power being positioned, blessing being prepared, destiny being calibrated. Every delay you've endured wasn't arbitrary. It served divine purpose that will become crystal clear when you see the complete picture. Beneath the surface of visible circumstances, invisible threads are weaving everything together with such precision that when you finally see the finished work, you'll understand why certain things had to wait. You are not late and you are not lost. You are exactly aligned with divine timing, even when human impatience argues otherwise. Right timing isn't about convenience. It's about readiness, maturity, and the alignment of multiple factors needing to converge simultaneously. Chosen one, heaven is preparing to respond to your secret obedience to those seeds you planted in silence when no one was watching. Divine justice isn't just about correcting wrongs. It's about restoring balance to your life with interest, giving back more than was taken, elevating you beyond where you stood before loss. You are experiencing spiritual evolution, transitioning you from begging for breakthroughs to expecting them. From hoping something might happen to knowing something is already in motion. This weekend isn't just another 2 days on a calendar. It represents a key point in your timeline where awareness transforms into manifestation, where what you've sensed spiritually begins crossing into natural reality. Angelic watchers have been preparing the atmosphere surrounding your life, dismantling obstacles you didn't know existed, positioning people and opportunities and resources in configurations that will flow effortlessly when timing releases. You haven't been forgotten, overlooked, or passed by. You've been carefully prepared for what's about to unfold. The foundation beneath your life has been strengthening during this season of apparent delay, meaning when blessing finally arrives, it will be accompanied by wisdom instead of just excitement. A delayed blessing becomes a wiser blessing because the current version of you can handle what's coming without being destroyed, distracted, or derailed. Behind the scenes of your visible life, divine blueprints have been finalized, assignments dispatched, and heaven's machinery is moving on your behalf in ways you can't yet perceive. Your blessing has been protected from premature exposure that would have attracted sabotage from being released before you are ready to steward it, from arriving when you lack maturity to maintain it. This is why staying spiritually awake matters profoundly, because the most significant movement happens in realms natural eyes cannot perceive. And you need spiritual discernment to recognize what's unfolding. Don't slip through your season of visitation by remaining distracted with surface concerns carrying no eternal weight. Chosen one, a spiritual trumpet has been sounded over your life, marking you for elevation and broadcasting to the heavenly realm that the time for your advancement has arrived. The physical realm is catching up to what's already been decreed spiritually, and you should watch for signs. Unexpected phone calls from people you haven't heard from, ideas flowing with unusual clarity, doors opening you didn't know existed, people reaching out with opportunities aligning perfectly with your gifting. Divine power is entering your situation, and you recognize it not as crushing pressure, but as force, as momentum, as wind filling sails that have hung limp too long. You are standing at a gateway of awareness. And the invitation is to embrace this moment now instead of waiting until it passes. N. Looking back with regret, holy anticipation is rising in your spirit as heaven releases what's been held in reserve. And your inner being is responding to frequencies the natural mind can't comprehend, but the spirit recognized as truth. There is a divine knowing settling into your consciousness that doesn't require external validation or someone else's confirmation to be legitimate. You know that you know that you know. It's internal certainty, bypassing logic, resting on revelation and spiritual intelligence from sources beyond natural comprehension. You are approaching a before and after moment, one of those clear dividing lines in your life story where everything shifts from what was to what is becoming. What's been hidden wasn't kept from you out of cruelty. It was protected for you until timing aligned perfectly, until you were positioned correctly, until the season matched preparation. That thing you thought permanently lost, that dream you buried because it seemed impossible, that promise you stopped believing in, it's beginning to flow freely again, not as a trickle, but as a flood, overwhelming the banks. Heaven's command over this moment transcends calendar dates and human schedules. This is sacred time, kairos time, appointed time, carrying weight beyond what clocks can measure. Chosen one, everything in your life is being reconsidered from heaven's perspective. And things you assumed dead are being revived and upgraded beyond original form. A portal has opened spiritually, releasing you from old cycles that kept you repeating patterns and experiencing limitations. Divine downloads are rising from within you. Clarity that wasn't accessible before. Instructions appearing from nowhere. Knowing guiding your steps with confidence. Your spiritual hearing has matured to where you no longer need thunder to capture God's attention. You hear Him in whispers, gentle impressions, the still small voice speaking to those who learn to be quiet enough to listen. You've entered the inner chamber of your destiny. That Holy of Holies where the presence is so thick that nothing else matters except what God is saying and doing in this moment. This isn't a threat or manipulation. It's an invitation to sit in sacred stillness and witness what unfolds without striving or forcing. What's been assigned to you isn't running away in fear. It's actually running toward you, drawn by divine magnetism to exact coordinates where you're standing. The threshold you cross with your decision to believe triggers a response from heaven, setting things in motion in ways you cannot orchestrate through networking. You'll begin noticing evidence of this alignment. Things that used to be difficult becoming easier. Doors that required force swinging open with gentle touch. People who used to resist you suddenly becoming receptive. This weekend marks the beginning of a new era in your life. Not just another passage of time coming and going without significance. Chosen one, a holy echo is moving through your spiritual atmosphere, dismantling invisible obstructions that have blocked your progress without you understanding what was in the way. The veil is parting to reveal what's been happening behind divine curtains. And you are about to see evidence of activity taking place in your favor. While you waited in faith, you are being stretched because your capacity is being increased to hold more territory, more responsibility, more blessing than you could have carried before. You've been placed on holy ground where favor already exists, where the atmosphere is preloaded with grace for what you're called to accomplish. There is a table prepared with your nameplate already in position, a seat reserved and waiting for you to take your place. Not someday, but now in this appointed time, God is awakening something in you that's been sleeping. A divine remembering of who you actually are and what you carry in your spirit. The memory He preserved through every trial is being activated with thunder, rumbling through your inner being, shaking awake parts of you that forgot their purpose. You are about to step into realities you didn't even know to pray for. Things so far beyond imagination that your faith couldn't have conceived them because they require divine creativity. Covenant promises signed in eternity before you were born are showing up in time, manifesting in your current reality as evidence that God keeps His word across generations. Watch for subtle signs, people treating you differently without explanation, doors opening without you knocking, opportunities circling back that you thought were gone forever. Chosen one. The instruction for this season isn't to do more, but to be still, be aware, be present to what's unfolding. The mystery that's been hidden is now being revealed as your secret weapon. The things setting you apart and positioning you for favor others can't understand. Destined connections are entering your path like elevators and assistants sent, specifically to help you reach the next level. Clarity and peace have arrived, and your job is to stand in them, to let them reset everything in your thinking and feeling and doing. You are standing at the edge of answered prayers, and the shift from asking to receiving is happening right now as awareness catches up with what heaven has already released. The sacred silence surrounding you isn't God's absence, it's His preparation. The calm before manifestation, the loading before launch. This weekend, has been marked and carved out as sacred space, separated from ordinary time for extraordinary purpose. You are not a spectator, but a participant, and your stillness is creating a pathway for heaven's will to move through your life without obstruction. Unseen warfare directed at your destiny has been intercepted. Curses have been broken. Enemy hands removed from what belongs to you. Your spiritual posture is shifting from faith, believing something could happen, to knowing, being certain something is happening and has already been set in motion by divine decree. Chosen one moment of true divine access. This weekend has the power to change everything, to unlock what's been sealed, to release what's been held, to establish what's been promised. You are receiving something meant to be a legacy, not a light burden consumed quickly. This is foundational blessing, establishing something lasting in your life and through your lineage. Divine recognition is coming that has nothing to do with your networking. It's heaven's hand making you visible to the right people at the right time. The journey that rerouted through heartbreak and delays wasn't punishment. It was deliverance from paths leading to destinations unworthy of your calling. You are standing on an unshakable foundation now built through testing. And you are ready for this hour in ways you weren't ready before. The blessing approaching you is meant to establish something, not just create a flash of temporary excitement. God is building something through you that cannot be torn down by human hands or dismantled by enemy schemes. The proof will be self-evident. There will be a glow, a peace, a confidence radiating from you that needs no explanation. The battles surrounding your destiny have already been won in the spiritual realm. And what you're watching now is the manifestation of victory secured before you knew there was a war. You're no longer in a season of petitioning, but of being positioned. No longer asking if, but recognizing that the journey you've traveled has been protected by divine covering that kept you from being destroyed even when you felt underestimated. Chosen one. Things that were buried, sabotaged, or stolen from you are experiencing resurrection, coming back to life in upgraded form and flourishing in full view. The manifestation happening isn't in secret. It's public, visible, undeniable. Words are coming that you've waited years to hear. We've been waiting for you. Remember this weekend not as ordinary time, but as sacred urgency wrapped in divine whisper. As the moment when heaven leaned in and spoke directly to the deepest part of your spirit. What you're feeling right now is stirring, and knowing and anticipation will be confirmed out loud in ways that remove all doubt and establish your faith on bedrock that cannot be shaken. The appointed time is now. The divine moment is here. Your season of manifestation has begun.